Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is Saber's Cooking. Yes, honey. So we are back with a good recipe on puff tacos. I actually found this recipe on Pinterest. I was scrolling through Pinterest the other day because I am a pinaholic, and I came across how to make puff tacos. But of course, I wanted to put my own twist to it to make it unique to how I cook. So I call these chorizo stuffed tacos, and they are super delicious and good. They kind of remind me of the chalupas that you would get from Taco Bell, but they're so much better than Taco Bell. So without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, y'all. So right here, I'm just quickly sauteing up some vegetables first. We threw in some onion, some green pepper, yellow pepper, and garlic. All the measurements to every ingredient that I use will be listed down below in the comment or in the description box if you are wondering what exactly or how much exactly I used. You can definitely omit, you can change up this recipe, you can add anything to it if you'd like, but this is how I make my tacos. So after I let them saute and sweat down, I then next are going to add my meat. Anytime I do taco meat from here on out, I've changed the way I do it. Instead of just using all ground meat, I use chorizo in my taco meat, and oh my god, y'all, it's so freaking better than regular taco meat. And of course, I made my own taco seasoning, and I'll have that listed down below. So the first thing is we're going to use a log of chorizo. I found you can find this pretty much at any grocery store. I usually find this in my Save a Lot grocery store because they have a whole Hispanic aisle. Um, so they have chorizo beef and pork chorizo. I got chorizo beef. I used a log of that and just put that in there and started to break that up. And then next we're going to use a half pound of ground beef. Now I use a lean ground beef because the chorizo is going to have enough fat and it's going to give my taco meat enough flavoring. So if you decide to use this, definitely I would say try to stick with the lean meat. It's going to be less fatty, and it's still going to be flavorful. You can also change it up and use ground turkey if you like. They also have ground turkey chorizo meat. It's just added flavor that you add to pork or chicken or turkey. So you can find that probably too in your local grocery store. So I'm just throwing in my meat. I'm going to chop that up with my spoon and get that broken down and cooked. Once that cooks and renders all the fat, I'm going to drain my meat, draining my meat of any excess fat. I don't want this taco meat to be super consumed with fat and all of that. So we're going to make sure that you drain your meat as well. You can just drain it through a regular strainer or colander or whatever. And that's about it. So then after that, I threw in my seasoning, and oh my god, you guys, this taco seasoning that I make at home is super delicious. To me, it tastes a lot better than the packet seasoning that you would get from the store, and it's a lot better too because it doesn't have added ingredients that's not good for you. Most taco seasoning that's already pre-packaged come with MSG, which is not that good. So definitely, I'll make sure to leave that list or that ingredient list down below of how to make your own taco seasoning at home. So as you can see, I made sure to take out all the excess fat. I left just a tad bit in. And then next we're going to add some beef consomme, which is basically reduced beef stock. I had this already in my refrigerator, so there was no need for me to go buy extra beef stock. If you have beef stock, you can use that instead. You don't have to get the beef consomme. It's just that's because that's what I already had in my house. I didn't have to go out and buy beef stock. So now I just added some water to condense it down, and then I just let that simmer on the stove for about 10 minutes and then took that out of the pot and transferred it to a pan to let it sit. And then next up after this, we're going to then start the puff tacos, which are super delicious. And oh my god, you guys, it's life changing. Ever since I did this, I was like, I will never buy a taco shell ever again in life. I'm just going to do it this way. It's just super easy and it tastes so good. All right, so then I did a little taste test in this and it tasted so well, so I gave it the thumbs up, the Saber's cooking stamp of approval. Next up, we're going to show you how to make these puff tacos. Now, these puff tacos did take me a little bit to get. At first, I think I had the way I had my tongs in like the way I inserted my tongs in the middle of the shell, it didn't allow it to make like a taco form, a taco shell form. So I did attempt this a few times before I finally got it. So when you do make these, just know that you might not get the first time around, and that's totally okay. Please don't think that it's going to be the same as mine. They're probably going to come out a lot different, but I would definitely say make sure that you just keep practicing. I usually, when y'all get corn tacos, I'm sorry, now I'm actually using corn tortillas. When I get corn tortillas, they come in a big stack and they're super cheap. So, I mean, you have enough to play around with first before you actually go through with the whole thing. Also, next thing I do want to mention is if you decide to make this dish, definitely you want to serve this right away. They're so good when they're fresh and then when they're right out of the oil. If you do decide to make this ahead of time, you might result in having the taco shells wilt. They will deflate, so they won't be as puffy and they won't be as crisp and fresh. So if you do make this, I would definitely say you want to make sure that you got your kids on standby so they can get themselves a plate and eat their tacos right away. I absolutely love this dish, and I love using the corn tortilla because basically what it does for me is you can taste the corn when you eat just regular corn tortillas, but when you fry them, it does something to the corn where it blossoms the flavor, and you can really taste the corn flavor and taste the sweetness from that tortilla, which is super delicious and goes really well with the savory beef mixture and all the condiments that you decide to add. So as you can see, I'm just trying a few times and I'm showing you how I did it. I also want to mention is you want to be careful when you are doing this. You want to make sure that you drain the oil because the tortilla forms a pocket, and of course there's oil inside of that. You want to make sure that you drain that, but you're careful because I did see, as you can see, I kind of like tilted the tongs toward myself and the oil started to splatter on my hand. I didn't get burned, but I did experience a little bit of discomfort. So you want to make sure that you're careful when you're doing this. Make sure that you don't have any small children around, and that, like I said, practice makes perfect. By the third time, I finally got it. I finally kind of like adjusted my tongs to where I wanted it to actually sit inside of the taco shell, and then hold it down about 20 seconds until it started to form that pocket. And as you can see, that third time was a charm, and I absolutely got it, loved it, delicious, easy tortilla. You can pretty much add any toppings to this. I decided to add some Monterey Jack cheese. I have my own Pico de Gallo that I make already, and I love making that. I had some cilantro on the side with the lime wedge, so you can squeeze a little bit of lime wedge on top, and some sour cream, and I went to town. I actually brought this into work when I had to work that evening, and my coworkers loved it. They thought it was delicious too, so I was super happy with the outcome. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure you leave that down below, and I'll be sure to reply back. Thank you all so much for watching. Love and good eats. Bye.